afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome to today's Royal Afternoon Edition, the 2 p.m. news on 88.4 Royal FM and live on YouTube at Royal FM Cameroon. The headlines. Most Cameroonians, especially in the city of Yaoundé, have regained their places of work after President Paul Biya was declared winner of last October 12 presidential elections yesterday.
Places are already open. Children have gone back to school. Like yesterday, there was no school.
Out of Cameroon, a small aircraft has crashed in Kenya, killing all 12 people on board. And in sports, Cameroon's indomitable Lionesses take on their Algerian counterparts today at 3:30 p.m. in their second leg last round qualifier ahead of the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations. Ladies and gentlemen, those were the headlines.
2025 presidential election, a special page in the news.
Glory Ngange, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mapala Zita.
Cameroonians now know the winner of the October 12 presidential elections as declared by the Constitutional Council yesterday. President Paul Biya has been receiving congratulatory messages as well as reactions from other candidates.
The Constitutional Council declared incumbent President Paul Biya as winner of the October 12 presidential elections with a percentage of 53.66. Few hours after the verdict by the President of the Constitutional Council, Clement Atangana, several political figures began sending in their messages of congratulations to President-elect. Some hours after the proclamation, President Paul Biya released a message to the nation congratulating himself on the renewed confidence granted by the people. He expressed satisfaction with the participation of Cameroonians in the electoral process while showing regrets over the unnecessary loss of lives due to the post-electoral violence. Paul Biya acknowledges the responsibility that lies ahead of him and promises to collaborate with Cameroonians to build a peaceful and prosperous nation. Relatively, candidate Cabral Libi of the PCRN sent his congratulations to Paul Biya through his Facebook page. He also thanked his supporters and sympathizers who stood by him during the entire electoral period. Cabral Libi, who ranked third, urged supporters to remain hopeful and mobilize for the upcoming legislative and municipal elections, as well as appeal for unity and prayer for the country. Also, Serge Espoir Matomba of the United People for the Social Renovation Party has, through a communique, extended his congratulations to winner of the October 12 election, President Paul Biya, while urging him to ensure transformation in his new term. Not to be left out, Celestin Bidjigi of PAL and Jean-Blaise Quet of MPC have both sent their congratulations to incumbent President Paul Biya. Apart from the reactions from the presidential candidates and political actors, the president of Gabon, Brice Clotaire Oligui Nguema, has hailed His Excellency Paul Biya on his re-election at the head of the country. The Gabonese president recognizes the declaration of the Constitutional Council as it translates the sovereign expression of Cameroonians as he calls for serenity and preservation of peace in this crucial moment in the region. On the other hand, Tomaino Ndamjoya and Issa Chiroma Bakari have both rejected the results proclaimed by the Constitutional Council yesterday. Both candidates cited issues of fraud, stuffing of ballot boxes during the voting. Tomaino Ndamjoya of the Cameroon Democratic Union insists that the results do not reflect the will of the people, while reaffirming the party's commitment to free choices, respect for every vote, and the sovereignty of the people. The woman in the race urged Cameroonians to express themselves in peace and dignity. On his part, Barrister Akere Muna condemns the vulnerability of the Constitutional Council acting under the control of the current regime. In a write-up titled "A Betrayed People," the candidate also calls for the release of political prisoners and citizens whimsically detained. He further highlighted that the Cameroonian people deserve a government of their choice, not a leader imposed by a corrupt system. Honorable Joshua Osi of the Social Democratic Front Party accepted his defeat but denounced the outcome of the October 12 presidential election, referring to the process as deeply flawed, undemocratic and marked by fraud. The SDF candidate also demanded the release of those arrested amid post-electoral demonstrations, called for urgent measures of appeasement, a reform of the Electoral Code, and an immediate end to the armed conflict in the two English-speaking regions. And Zita, after yesterday's declaration by the president of the Constitutional Council, some political figures who were present at the Yaoundé Conference Center expressed satisfaction with the results. Take a listen to some of them in this Vox Pop.
We are modest and humble, but at the same time, satisfaction which, while merited, we understand that we have to congratulate the other 11 candidates because they are fellow Cameroonians. They did their part in the democratic competition. They had their own share of the vote. And so we have to appreciate and congratulate them. Let us build from the results of these elections, and let us continue to work together in our living together to build a better future for all of us.
Everything went on very well. The announcement has been made, and the winner is President Paul Biya.
This election was the very difficult presidential election, more than the one on 2018, because you will notice that opposition has assembled his force to one person, that is the consensual candidate of the opposition, and they demonstrate that when they are united, they can do better. They reduced the percentage of President Paul Biya from 71 to 53.66%. That means the lesson is, if the opposition is united, the presidential majority has to be careful, very careful.
You are listening to the head of the CPDM Academy, Elvis Ngole, president of the G20, Jean de Dieu Momo, and head of the CPDM Central Committee for the North Region, Philemon Yang.
Glory, after the declarations of the winner, what is the next process?
The proclamation of the results of the elections draws a curtain on the electoral process, which started off with the convening of the electorate. The culmination of the process ushers in the swearing-in of the president-elect of the Republic, which is going to be done during a Congress of Parliament. In the excerpt that follows, political analyst Herman Banjo throws more light on the process.
With the results that are being proclaimed, which falls in line with the Electoral Code Section 137, which is the Constitutional Council that has the power to proclaim these results. Once these results are proclaimed, they are expected to be registered in the National Gazette in English and French. And now the next aspect is the swearing in of the president-elect. Once that happens, Section 140 of the Electoral Code is very specific, that the president-elect is going to take the oath of office in the presence of the Constitutional Council, parliamentarians, and in the presence of members of the Supreme Court at the National Assembly. After he must have taken the oath in the presence of these personalities, the next thing is that the members of the National Assembly, or those who are expected to conduct the oath, they now sign the document signed by members of the Constitutional Council, co-signed by the other members, the Supreme Court, and the rest. And then once that has been done, the original copy is now handed to the president who has taken oath of office.
Yaoundé city dwellers are gradually resuming their activities after staying indoors all day yesterday for fear of the unknown as the election results were being proclaimed. Freeway Crispin interviewed some of them who have resumed activities as well as got their diverse expectations from the newly, or rather re-elected president. She compiled the following report.
Mama Juliana lives and works in Ekunu, one of the major neighborhoods in the political capital, Yaoundé. She reveals today's atmosphere in the city is much better compared to yesterday.
Today, places are open. People are regained their duty today. Places are really open. Children have gone back to school. Like yesterday, there was no school. No student was in school yesterday.
Over at Tekasi neighborhood, Alexandra Grace attests.
Today has been relatively calm, yet it is filled with a lot of fear. So personally today, I haven't gone for work and the atmosphere is really scaring. Like even at the level of schools, we were asked to keep our children in the house. So not everything has returned to normal.
However, following the re-election of President Paul Biya for his 8th mandate, Cameroonians seized the opportunity to voice out diverse expectations.
From the re-election of President Paul Biya is that things be done differently. In what way that they keep to promises? If they say that they will do this, they better see it to the end.
We are just pleading that God should be the leader so that everybody should be satisfied, because mostly the youths are really angry. Even the parents are not happy because you struggle, you say tomato under the rain, under the sun, that your child should go to school. And when he's finished his education, he come back to meet you where you were selling that tomato and salt to say again together with you.
Other citizens expect the new government to bring back political stability, security, and curb the rate of unemployment by creating more job openings for the youth.
And a day after the Constitutional Council revealed the results of the presidential elections in Cameroon, students and pupils as well as academic staff members today resumed classes after some absences registered yesterday. Evans Williams Njobati approached some school administrators and compiled this report.
Throwing back to the squabbles that were rumored in some parts of the country following the event at the Constitutional Council caused some schooling institutions to record absences, as Wango Emmanuel makes a summary of yesterday's day.
Yesterday was a nice day, like any other day. The turn-up was not all that encouraging, but at least we had some children who came to school despite all the odds that we had yesterday. They were here, they came and met us, all of the teachers were there. We were on campus with them. They had classes right up to 3 p.m. before they went home. The primary 3 p.m., the nursery 2 p.m. We thank God because nothing bad happened to any of us here on campus.
On his side, Julius Niba, another administrator and pedagogue, has schooled his students and staff on some safety measures.
When there is any intruder, we have taught them how we'll ring the bell if everything is not in order. And we have taught them how to behave exactly when they hear that. We have made them know that there are other openings in the school where they can be smoked out of the school. And also the staff have been educated to stay calm as well, not to plant panic in the hearts of the children.
Even though the climate might still be tense, both academic experts are calling on parents to not deprive their children from going to school.
We have also told them to not involve into any clashes in the community, not to involve in any debates which are unnecessary. They should stay calm and focus on their books as children, while allow adults to talk things out.
They should forget about what is happening in the environment and come to school, because we are counting on them to be good leaders tomorrow. And before being a good leader tomorrow, they have to learn. They have to copy notes. They have to take to the instructions of all the teachers.
In a nutshell, wise thoughts have it that politics is meant for politicians and school for scholars.
And upon his re-election, President Paul Biya is set to be sworn in for another term, that's an 8th term, after a contentious elections. With inflation on the rise and unemployment being a major concern, the country needs economic solutions. Jeffrey Tachum spoke to an economic expert who dives into the economic challenges facing the president-elect.
Millions of Cameroonians are struggling to make ends meet, and the country's economic hardships show no signs of improvement. As the president begins a new term of office, experts are skeptical and do not foresee a scenario of change throughout the next 7 years. Jumulu Eugene is an economics teacher.
I think most of these challenges, we talked about them some 20 years back, and nothing have been done with respect to that. Road development is a major challenge. We don't have roads, we don't have schools. There are areas in Cameroon where we don't have schools. The educational standard is so porous, not the best, and we lack infrastructure.
And as Cameroon faces significant challenges with rising inflation, high unemployment, and a growing public debt, Chumulu Eugene goes further to decry the country's state of economic inertia.
We look at the level of employment in Cameroon is very backward. The level of corruption is at an alarming rate. And so we look at even the emergency plan of 2025, nothing is being done. We talked about Cameroonians being in Shanghai and they are still in Shanghai with a lot of debt that has been incurred. I think the government for the next 7 years will be struggling to repay back some of the debts that has been taken from foreign bodies and private individuals.
What then are the hopes of saving our economy and preventing it from drifting away? Chumulu Eugene wants more.
It will take us time and energy with a lot of resources for us to leap from the stage where we are to another stage. And so it is really a pitiful situation for us to look at, and we are really dropping tears and trusting God that if things could go well and if we could turn to the positive to see how we change the face of the nation.
Cameroon's economy is forecasted to grow by over 4% in 2025, with public debt projected at 42% of gross domestic product. The president will need to ensure that economic growth is sustained and benefits all segments of the population.
2025 presidential election, that was our special page in the news.
And still to come in this newscast, ladies and gentlemen, we will be discussing animated movies, what we generally call cartoons.
When I think of Barbie, it just reminds me of a world where all my dreams could come true. My confidence shines bright, and I can still remember how I love dressing dolls.
Welcome back. If you are just tuning in, you are listening to the 2 p.m. news on Royal FM and watching us live on YouTube at Royal FM Cameroon. Today, October the 28th, is observed as the International Animation Day. It is a day set aside by the International Animated Film Association since 2002 to celebrate the art of animation. The day gives us a chance to reflect on the important role animation plays in storytelling and creativity. For many, animation is a child's first introduction to movies. It shapes how they see stories, art, and creativity. Our reporter Ngang Nadesh caught up with some Cameroonians who go down memory lane with some childhood cartoon characters and movies. Take a listen to her report.
According to Falin Mufo, cartoon movies from her childhood was more than just entertainment. It was a perspective shaper, influencing their thoughts, values, and approach to life.
When I think of Barbie, it just reminds me of a world where all my dreams could come true. My confidence shines bright, and I can still remember how I love dressing dolls. And what's funny about it is the fact that I could sing all the songs which were sung in every Barbie. I could sing everything, and it made me feel like I could actually be anything till I entered my early 60s and I understood that issue of Barbie like that.
On his part, Nge Boris shares that action cartoons were his go-to childhood favorite, drawn to the high-energy excitement and adrenaline-fueled storylines.
My favorite cartoon is Dragon Ball Z, which the actor there is Sangoku. What I like from there is their transformation in Super Saiyan 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the flying action in it, which makes me feel like I should fly one day too and also act such a cartoon.
He nostalgically notes that the modern cartoons no longer capture the same level of action and excitement that drew him in as a child, making the classics of his childhood seem more captivating and memorable in comparison.
What makes it different from other cartoons nowadays is that the cartoon now are no more showing such actions, apart from the one which is just of recent, like Kung Fu Pan, which has almost same quality, but actually is good.
Cartoon movies of nowadays are not quite interested in the 3D animation part, which makes it not like so suitable for you to stay glued to your screen.
As we commemorate the World Animation Day, it is clear that animated classics
have left an indelible mark on most Cameroonians. From shaping perspectives to fueling imaginations, the memories of Mickey Mouse, Bugs Bunny, and Tom and Jerry continue to inspire and entertain. While modern cartoons have evolved, the nostalgia for these childhood films remains a testament to the timeless power of animation to captivate, educate, and shape one's life.
Out of Cameroon, a small aircraft crashed in Kenya early today, killing all 12 people on board while flying to the Masai Mara National Reserve. According to Mombasa Air Safari, there were no survivors from the crash, which occurred in a hilly forested area some 40 kilometers from Diana airstrip. Reports say the plane was carrying 10 passengers consisting of 8 Hungarians and 2 Germans plus 1 Kenyan crew member and the captain. Government agencies are currently investigating the cause of the accident. Sudan's military chief has confirmed that the army's withdrawal from its last western stronghold of El Fasher after the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, the RSF, declared control of the city. In a televised address, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan said he had approved the withdrawal in response to the systematic destruction and killing of civilians, adding that he had agreed with local leaders to leave and go to a safe place to protect the remaining civilians, or rather citizens, and the rest of the city from the destruction. The RSF has denied any killing of civilians. U.S. President Donald Trump has met Japan's first female Prime Minister, Sanae Takaichi, in Tokyo, welcoming her pledge to accelerate a military build-up and signing deals on trade and critical minerals. Speaking today, Trump lavished praises on Takaichi, saying she would be a great leader, while, according to the White House, the Japanese Prime Minister said she plans to nominate the U.S. President for a Nobel Peace Prize. We come back to talk sports after this break. And in sports, the indomitable Lionesses of Cameroon will play Algeria at 3:30 p.m. today in Douala, a game which counts for the second leg of the last qualifying round for the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations. While noting that the Lionesses currently have a 2-1 aggregate defeat, sports analyst Martin Boangemo says a win is mandatory.
Having those players, 20 of them, yes, they're professionals coming from east and west and south, but there's no cohesion. You will not find your players eyes closed, because football is a collective sport. Algeria is not a war house when it comes to football. You must have a nucleus from the base, even if we were not very active with our league stopped long ago. But these players should have been calm and give them intensive training, even so test matches with other teams. So by the time they're playing with their counterparts out there, the cohesion will be there. So a few of them will come out there to fit in this particular setup. But I will say that what happened in Nigeria, we are happy that we got that lone goal, which helped to reduce the gap. So with 2-1, a goal here in Douala will suffice. We only pray that the harmless spirit will come, conjure it, and push the Algerians as early as possible, and push them to the backyard, and we get an early goal or two before we go for the recess.
In the meantime, 10 African nations are set to grab tickets to Morocco for the 2026 Women Africa Cup of Nations today, as Biwa Brian tells us in the following report.
The qualification race for the Women's African Cup of Nations WAFCON 2026 reaches fever pitch today, as 10 crucial second leg matches are set to complete the lineup for the final tournament in Morocco. The biggest showdown of the day is undoubtedly between the continent's reigning champion South Africa and the Democratic Republic of Congo. After a tense 1-1 draw in the first leg, Bayana of South Africa returned home today in Johannesburg with a vital away goal, knowing a simple goalless draw will see them through to the next stage. Elsewhere, Cameroon's indomitable Lionesses face an uphill battle at home, needing to overturn a 1-2 deficit and neutralize an Algerian away goal in order to dream of a qualification ticket to Morocco 2026. Mali, on their part, holds a 1-0 lead against Cape Verde, but must contain their opponent in Bamako today in order to secure a qualification for their very first time in this competition. The Super Falcons of Nigeria, Africa's most decorated team, carries a comfortable 2-0 advantage in their home tie against Benin Republic, while Ghana's Black Queens hold a biggest lead of the day, sitting on a dominant 3-0 aggregate against Egypt. Next is Tanzania, who will look to defend their solid 2-0 lead against Ethiopia in Addis Ababa, and the Harambee Stars of Kenya, who are just 90 minutes away from qualification, boosting a 3-1 lead against Gambia. And finally, Burkina Faso will take a 2-0 lead into the return leg against Togo today. By the end of today, Africa is certain to know the 10 teams who will finalize the lineup for the 2026 tournament, closing one of the most unpredictable qualification campaigns in the WAFCON history.
Brian, the Cameroon Football Federation has wrapped up elections across all 10 regions, and you have a summary.
The Cameroon Football Federation finalized a key phase of its electoral process on Saturday, October 25, with the Electoral General Assembly across all 10 regions, where new regional presidents were elected in the respective regions. In the Northwest region, Jeff Sapasi, after having won 43 out of 43 votes, was re-elected as president. The same case in the Southwest region, where Daze Valerie was re-elected. In the South region, the current first vice president of the Cameroon Football Federation, Celine Eko, was re-elected to lead the region's football, while Atiu Jambi was elected in the East region. The Littoral region elected Robert Bikek, while Fojo Tabo Philip was elected in the West region. Haruna Gombo is set to lead the Adamawa region after winning elections with 26 votes. Muhammadu Danjuma will lead the North region, while Mbida Michel will lead the Central region, and Umar Bisher will lead the Far North region.
We close our sports file with judo, as today is being observed as the World Judo Day.
Today, October 28, the global judo world is celebrating Judo Day, marking the birthday of sports founder Kano Jigoro. This year's celebration is themed Judo is Peace, Unity and Friendship, highlighting the sport's profound ethical and social principles. Across the world, clubs, federations and judokas are hosting special events, including open training sessions demonstrating and a community initiative, all aimed at promoting core values of judo. In Cameroon, the Cameroon Judo Federation has outlined a couple of activities which involves a peaceful walk across their various training sessions in order to commemorate the day, which is considered a flamboyant day in the judo world.
We have a plan. We work with all the judo clubs in Cameroon.
I welcome Doreen Bimi into the studio with a summary of this newscast in the French language. Bon après-midi, Doreen.
Bon après-midi, Mapalazita. En politique présidentielle 2025, Paul Biya rempile à la tête de l'État. Le président candidat du RDPC a été réélu à hauteur de 53,66% des voix. Une victoire finale issue de la proclamation des résultats définitifs par le Conseil constitutionnel. Il faut également relever les messages de félicitations des candidats et autres partis politiques. Ce 28 octobre 2025 est dédié à la Journée internationale du cinéma d'animation. Une journée qui met en avant la diversité et la richesse du cinéma d'animation sur la scène internationale au Kenya. 12 morts dans un crash d'un petit avion, soit 8 Hongrois et 2 Allemands, ainsi que le capitaine kényan de l'appareil. L'avion a décollé ce matin de la station balnéaire touristique de Diani et faisant route vers le parc Nazaï lorsqu'il s'est écrasé. En sport, football féminin éliminatoire CAN Maroc 2026. Les Lions du Cameroun affrontent l'Algérie ce mardi. La rencontre va se dérouler au stade de la réunification à Douala à partir de 15h30.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the package we gathered for you this afternoon. Today's Royal Afternoon Edition received technical assistance from Irish Kemwi. Brian Bida and Boris Tedongmo took care of the cameras for our different social media handles. Biwa Brian gave us production assistance, script editing and editorial coaching Abel Bela Samari, central coordination Roger Kiek, our station manager, and general supervision by the Reverend Pastor Bisai Emmanuel Noel. For news editing and presentation, my name is Mapala Zita. Thank you all for your kind attention, and you have an interesting afternoon in the company of programs over Royal FM. More news comes up at 6 p.m., which will be a bilingual edition. But before that, part 2 of Fresher Royal continues with Tata Flo, who is back here in the studio. Welcome back, Tata Flo.
Merci beaucoup, m'appelle Zita. Tu l'as dit, deuxième partie de Fraîcheur Royale. Toujours la même thématique. Le fouet est-il nécessaire en cas de mauvaise note scolaire présentée par votre enfant? Est-ce que vous seriez toujours à mesure d'utiliser le fouet lorsque votre enfant ramène de mauvaises notes à la maison? Il y a des parents qui sont des fouetteurs. En tout cas, les réactions des auditeurs sont attendues. On aura également en seconde partie d'émission la page pratique de Dorine Mbimi qui vous sera certainement servie. On se dit à tout de suite.